Guys, welcome back to Relaxed Running. Today I'm going to take you through 5 of the best running movies or documentaries that have ever been made, in my opinion. Alright, let's kickstart with Sebastian Coe's documentary, Born to Run. Now, for those of you who have heard the name Sebastian Coe, you might realise that he's one of the best middle distance runners in the world, probably up there with the greatest of all time. He won 4 Olympic medals, including 2 Olympic gold medals over the 1500 meters. And this is a really great insight into the mindset, the training, the highs, the lows that a bloke like Sebastian Coe had to go through. It takes you into his household and looks at the relationship between his father, who is also his coach, and just the journey that they take towards success. It gives you a really awesome insight into what it takes to compete at that level and what it takes to get back up after some incredible disappointments. If you're also a fan of some old school training footage, jump on board this one because you're going to enjoy some of the London streets back from the 70s, the 80s. It's a really good documentary. The second on the list, and perhaps my favorite because I'm completely biased and I'm obsessed with Steve Prefontaine, is the movie Prefontaine. It's Hollywood's take on the life of Steve Prefontaine, who was tragically killed at the age of 24 in a car crash in Oregon. But up until that point, Prefontaine was an up-and-comer, one of the best distance runners over the 5,000 meters in the world. He had some attitude, he had some swagger, he had an incredible amount of confidence that I think people who are a fan of Prefontaine really admire. So this is a great look into how Prefontaine got into running, some of the mindsets that he had, some of the struggles that he had, some of the frustrations that he had, and eventually some of the goals that he had towards competing at a world stage. I think what I loved about Prefontaine was the fact that he never stepped on a track to just see how he went. He always stepped on a track to try and put his best effort down. And I think it's a really inspiring mindset for any up-and-coming runner or hobby runner, competitive runner, just to check out. So if you haven't seen that one yet, make sure you go and check out Prefontaine. Just quietly, for a running movie, got some big actors in there as well. You're going to be surprised. All right, the third movie on the list that you have to check out, which is also based on the fact I'm incredibly biased and absolutely love this bloke. It is the movie Endurance. It looks at the life of Haile Gebrselassie and just the struggles, the triumphs, the highs, the lows, the training, everything else that comes with being a world-class distance runner. It looks at his homeland and how he found his way into running. It looks at his school life and how he got to school. It looks at the foundations of how Haile Gebrselassie became the name he is in the distance running scene. So if you haven't checked it out already, you want to look at some beautiful footage, you want to look at a beautiful story, make sure you go and check out Endurance, the life and times of Haile Gebrselassie. All right, for number 4, we are going old school. This movie is called Running Brave, and it looks at the story of Billy Mills' Olympic success over the 10,000 meters in 1964. Like the other movies and documentaries that I've recommended, it's a little bit biographical, so it gives you a look at the early stages of his life, and it takes you to one of the highest moments of his sporting career when he caused a massive upset to win the 1964 Olympic gold medal over the 10,000 meters. Fun fact for you, I actually met Ron Clark, who finished 3rd, I want to say, in that same race, and I asked him about the movie after I'd watched it back in the day, and Ron Clark told me he was really frustrated with the way that the push that Ron Clark gave Billy Mills with about 150 meters to go was portrayed. He said he wanted to potentially pursue it and get them to change that because it was just so hyper exaggerated, but didn't end up ever following up. Completely irrelevant detail. I just thought I'd brag about the fact that I met the bloke who came 3rd. So if you haven't heard of Billy Mills, if you haven't seen this movie, make sure you go and check it out. It's a really inspiring tale of how the hard work that we so often put in can come around in ways that we might not have ever imagined possible. All right, and the last documentary that I want to give you, number 5, is the Berkeley Marathon, the race that eats its young. So the title says it all. You don't need to hear too much more to know that this is one of the most brutal marathons of all time, which only a handful of athletes can actually attempt each year. Back in the day, it was a race that you had to know someone to actually be able to compete in. And it is just a brutal event, which is, I'm not going to say near impossible because people do finish it, but it seems bloody hard to be able to finish. So if you want to look at something which is going to inspire you to push yourself further than what you might have imagined you were capable of pushing yourself, check out Berkeley Marathon. I'm not going to say too much more than if you like watching people in pain and suffering and just really testing their limits of their physical ability, then the Berkeley Marathon's documentary is one for you. Obviously, with only 5 recommendations, I'm not going to be able to tick off all the best running movies of all time. So please, in the comments below, let me know what is your favorite running movie or documentary. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys, like the video if it was helpful, and hang around. I've got new videos coming out twice a week on training, on recovery, on racing, on strength, conditioning, stretching. There's a whole heap. If you need tips and tricks on improving your distance running, this is the channel for you. So thanks so much for being here, guys. Put your recommendations in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.